All right, Soupernerd, welcome in Honkler Hangout. It is by now the 2nd of June. It's 3:40 a.m. at my place. I am still Yoshi Levo, streaming 20 miles out of Liberland, and you are the final guest of my marathon session. The stream is now live for 24 hours and 23 minutes. I'm really looking forward to this interview because you kind of set me up to do all of this. A couple of weeks ago, I asked you, hey, could we do a interview? And you were more than willing to do so. But the only thing was the time in which we were gonna do the interview, and the time at this moment. I live in a small apartment. I don't want to bother my neighbors too much with all the noise that I make during my stream and talking loud. So I had to set up
Yeah.
something special for it. And here we are. You have made a great day for me. I have had so many incredible guests. You can watch all of the interviews back if you want to one day. But right now we're going to focus on our chat together. I'm really looking forward to it. You are the developer of tipbitcoin.cash. Let me continue a little bit more with the introduction. That the reason why I'm wearing a Honkler wig today and the reason why my nose is red because when I found out that I could receive honk.io tokens through your service, I decided to basically change my entire stream around and um, change it into Honkler Hangout. I got another donation with your service, so here we go. It's a mandatory drink for me. Thanks for the dollar,
Sure.
Adolf Honkler. Um, with all that being said, Super Nerd, could you tell a little bit more about yourself? For example, how did you get into crypto? And I expect you to have started with Bitcoin Core. What made you change to Bitcoin Cash?
Okay, so how did I get started with crypto? I was dicking around one day and I thought it would be cool to have like a McLovin ID. So I was looking for a company that would make me the fake ID. And then I did a search and I ran into this thing called Bitcoin. I can't remember when this was, end of 2011, beginning of 2012. So when I went to this site, I believe it was Silk Road that I
Right.
looked at. This was really way back in the day. I saw that in order to purchase these items, this McLovin ID that I wanted, you'd have to use Bitcoin. I didn't know what Bitcoin was, so I did a little bit of research and I fell in love with the idea. Um, yeah, so I just been pretty much hooked on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general since that day, basically. Been watching charts, building, getting to know people, things like that. What made
And
me
then,
switch to Bitcoin Cash
yeah.
is probably pretty long story that we'll work our way into.
All right, all right, all right. So, um, what's your background then? What's your specialty? Let's say that. What is your talent?
Well, my talent's pretty much been I can do anything I set my mind to. I can
That's a
build,
great
I can
talent.
work with my hands. Anything I want to do, I just do. I don't care if it takes me a year in solitude to learn it, I will.
And then, what made you decide to use that talent for crypto money? Because being able to do everything you want, I mean, I would like to become a porn star one day, maybe, right? So what made you decide to start coding behind your computer and spend your time on Bitcoin?
Well, I had already been coding prior to running into Bitcoin. I was working on a protocol called BitTorrent. I had a slew of file sharing sites that would allow you to share all sorts of material from World War II blueprints of tanks and planes to magic tricks, just about everything you could think of. Linux distributions, of course. Uh, I saw opportunity, and what got me into wanting to code. First of all, so when it comes to tipbitcoin.cash, it's the first thing that I'm actually part of that I haven't actually coded a single line of.
Wow.
So Pokes is actually the developer of tipbitcoin.cash. I saw opportunity in it a year ago and offered to purchase it, and we've been working together ever since. But what got me interested in coding was opportunity for Bitcoin specifically. Opportunity, it was there. I'm a capitalist of some nature. I like to make money. I like to have money. I like to be able to spend money on my children and my wife, and have all the nice things that I want. And yeah, it was opportunity. And I also understood that in order to add some sort of value and a board, basically, I haven't worked for anybody since 2006.
Okay. Okay.
In 2000, so 2009ish is like when I went full time, and then whatever I want to do. 2006 is probably the last time I actually worked for somebody else. But a lot of it was because I was bored. I had nothing to do, and I also understood that in order to add value to this coin, Bitcoin BTC that I held, I wanted to contribute something to it to add to the ecosystem, and so I've been spending my years. It's been 8 years, going on 8 or 9 years at this point. I've been spending my time getting to know people, lurking, reading, learning, anything I can possibly do.
Good one. Hey, we have the first raffle happening. I just get a notification that the
Awesome.
raffle time is done. So let's do that quickly in between. We have a total of 5 participants. I'm gonna pick a winner. Good luck to all 5. Point 1G
I bet
is
I
you.
win.
Let me I'm gonna double this raffle price because we are over 24 hours. So that's enough celebration for me. I made it this far. 0.1G. Let's write it down. 0.1G. I'm going to spin the wheel. The price is going to be doubled. Here we go. Let me quickly show to everybody that I'm not cheating. 100 renew cash with a multiplier. Multiplier of 1 makes 100 times 2. 200 renew cash. Congratulations. I'm going to start.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. I'm going to start a new raffle right away. 20 minutes as always, counting down, starting right now, exclamation mark raffle to participate. And good luck to all the participants. Alright, that is always a kind of a distraction. Where were we again? It's getting more difficult as time goes by and the coronas go in. Cheers to that. But
That's usually how it goes. Yeah.
so you saw that you could make money with this new technology.
Hmm.
You started to investigate a little bit in who is in this ecosphere, and then what? Then what? Because we are now still in.
Oh,
For me, I'm still in 2014. Let's say it like that. The first time that Bitcoin went to 1,000.
so much has happened. Oh my God. So much has happened. So I'm still like mentally in this story right around 2012
Yeah,
is when I
something like
got introduced to the Cripsy guys.
that. Oh,
So I spent a
Big
lot of
Vern,
time trading. Yeah, I
Big
had
Vern.
yeah, yeah. I should mention by this time I had given up all BitTorrent endeavors. I
All
was
right.
fully mentally into Bitcoin when I saw it. I let everything go as far as sites, anything to do with file sharing. So I went full time into trading. I took some cash. I had an incident where I was actually repairing Apple products. This is way back in the day when the first touchscreen iPods came out. Thank you. I was I became the second largest non-authorized reseller of refurbished Apple items,
Mm,
and PayPal had frozen like 40 grand from
wow.
me. Just almost killed my business. Luckily, I had enough set aside that I could pick up. But yeah, this is one of the reasons why I went full time into Bitcoin, because I figured if PayPal could just freeze $40,000 like that, this isn't it. This is not what I want to be part of. They basically have the ability to kill anyone's business
Yeah.
based off of some AI's red flag. And I had been perfectly legit. So there was no reason for the flag. It was just the fact that I had a lot of money with them, I think,
Yeah.
is why they froze
Yeah.
the money.
Yeah.
Anyways, yes, I let go of all BitTorrent stuff. I got in touch with the Cripsy guys. I got to know everybody at Cripsy, spent a lot of time there, did a lot of trading, spent the next few years investing into ICOs like Ethereum. Day one public sale, I was there within the first hour,
Okay.
investing in the Ethereum. Basically, any well-known dark coin I had invested in, everything. So I was
Cool.
trading, getting
We
to
were
know the
probably
guys. And then,
trading with each other then.
that's what's
We were trading with each other at that time.
possibly. I mean, yeah. Hopefully, I didn't take too much from you.
Concerning Cripsy, I won the most and I lost the most on Cripsy. I had this coin called Sex Coin. I don't know if you heard about it. And I was buying up all those Sex Coin just before Max Kaiser tweeted about it. And then that was my biggest profit, man. That was 48 hours and I made, I don't know, back then it was like 1,000 Bitcoins in 48 hours that I managed to sell. But
Holy cow!
when
That's
Cripsy
good.
went down, so went my profits, right? So yeah, that was
Yeah, that was
uh,
bad
that
because
was a pricey lesson.
that was really bad because all my friends worked for Cripsy at that point. This is still, I forget when Cripsy took a crap, but these are all the people that I first connected with. The Green Lions of the world, the Horaces, all of them, the Nordics, the Nordmans, all kinds of people. The Jim Blascos, which I used to fight with a lot. But yeah, so Cripsy went down, and even the people working for them lost all of their money. Dead, all of it. So if even the people who worked from who had assets, it was just all gone, and Vern was gone. I forget exactly what I jumped to after that. I think I just went into investing into things like Lisk. And at this point, my life is just watching charts. I hadn't built anything yet for cryptocurrency. Just watching charts, trading, making money, making a living, and then I knew because if I held these assets, they would just blow up. They'd just explode in power.
Yeah.
Purchasing power. So.
I
I
feel
went
what
from
you're saying.
there, and I think 2014, 2015 hit. There was a change. I was on vacation with my family. There was a change. I had noticed a few comments saying that all of a sudden our Bitcoin was starting to censor like heavily. Apparently they had been doing it for a while, but it was falling under the radar. And I didn't know what to do, so I thought for a couple hours, and then I came up with the idea that I would purchase a competitive, if I could.
Sorry, what? A competitive?
So competitive, separate. So at the time, our Bitcoin had 500,000, I believe, 500,000 subscribers. I knew it would be an uphill battle, but something had to be done. I could tell based off of these comments that I was reading that they were changing what they were doing. They were trying to change the focus of Bitcoin and what Bitcoin meant, what Bitcoin stood for. And I could tell that it was most likely money driven or corporation driven, profit driven, because it seemed like overnight Blockstream, even though they had been around for a couple of years before then, at this point, Blockstream existed for a couple of years, but they had only put hypotheticals out there as far as sidechains and things like this. But for some reason, they 2014, 2015, it just seemed like they were able to take over development of Bitcoin like that. And then it came out that they got a $50 million investment, some of which came from people who would not want to see Bitcoin succeed. But yeah, so I quickly, within a few hours on vacation, I quickly did all this math in my head. I'm like, what can we do? So I was like, we got to start somewhere. And I decided I would try to purchase a competing subreddit, something that could be close enough to our Bitcoin that would draw people in and that's when I contacted the owner of RBTC, which at that point it was for a British television show. The initials spelled out, something to do with that television show, and I asked him if I could purchase it. So I said, hey, you got 3 members, 3 subscribers. It's not being used. Can I buy it from you? He's like, sure. I'm like, how about 2 Bitcoins? This is at the time Bitcoin's worth $250 a piece. By that point, so yeah, I bought it for $500.
Yeah.
And we weren't getting much traction in the first few days, but I thought, what if we brought in a big name like an influencer, like we're about to do for tipbitcoin.cash? We're going to find an influencer to push it. But I was like, what if I bring in a big name that everyone knows and give them control over the subreddit? And I was like, if I wanted to do that, who could I pick? And I was like, there's only one person I would ever pick that I know of publicly, and that's Roger Ver. So I did it, and it's worked. Now it's a direct competitor to our Bitcoin, even though it's BCH focused at this point. But yeah, it grew. It grew, and it gave me hope. It gave me confidence, and from there I just started focusing on again trading and deciding on projects that I could build. Like I wanted to be like Roger Ver. I don't think I'd ever match him. I don't have the resources he has, probably not the intelligence that he has, but I wanted to be like him, even though we're the same age. So I want to be this guy, and that's where I'm focused at right now. I want to be Roger Ver, but instead of to be Soupernerd, So, yeah, that's 2015. And between then and now, it's just been, Spice Project, created Spice Project. I'm in charge of tipbitcoin.cash, along with input from the developer post. Created paybutton.cash. So paybutton.cash, I created.
I didn't hear about
learned
that.
JavaScript. Oh, paybutton.cash. So it allows anyone to put a pay button on their website.
I got a donation. Wait a second. Got a donation.
Drink a more full glass. I send you $5.
They want me to drink, Soupernerd. Let me drink a little bit.
Drink.
We are trying to break the tipbitcoin.cash tip bot today. We have been donating. So I made a little deal with my community that every time somebody would send a tip, I would drink. So here we go. It's quite strong. It's a local brewed. They call it rakia here. This is one made out of.
When you do that, you have to up the minimum value to $2 or something at least.
Yeah, that's a good one. The thing is that I take small sips, but this was a $15 donation. So
oh yeah, that's 3 sips, buddy.
This is a bigger one. Here we go. Cheers.
Cheers. I've got vodka in here. Here we go.
Oh, you're joining me. Look, that's a double drink. Now you need to tip again. Yeah. Tip me 15 again because Soupernerd drank with us. Sorry for that. Sometimes the tippers can influence the stream a lot, but it's nice. It's nice.
I'm perfectly fine with that. I want that to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care about interruptions. That's not an interruption in my book. It's fun. So, yeah, I don't know where else to go from there, but yeah, that's pretty much 2015. From 2011, 2015, just meandering around trading, getting to know people, starting RBTC. Worked on another Ethereum related project, which hasn't launched, and I cannot actually speak about it.
Great.
And then from there, I decided, we haven't even gotten to the BCH part. So we're still, 2015, we're still all Bitcoin at this.
I'm all yours, man. I mean, we got all the time. There is no next guest. You are my last one of the day. So we can draw this out as long as you want. The sun can come up here. It's all good. But I really...
if you want to throw me questions, I'm all for it.
Yeah, also to the people in the stream, feel free to ask questions to Soupernerd here. I don't see any questions yet, but I do get a $1 donation again.
Nice.
Soupernerd, I get a
Is that a-
question through a
Is that a mini
donation.
sip?
Him to
Sure.
join my podcast.
The question is, Soupernerd, would you like to be a part of the Freedom Radio podcast one day? We're gonna set that up, Freedom Radio. I'm gonna ask him in a
I'm
separate
definitely
chat.
interested in doing. I'm definitely interested in doing fun things. If it's fun, yeah, and it works with the schedule I have, yeah, I'm down.
Great, that sounds great. There is now a question to me. Will you make a highlight video? Yes, of course. I will make a separate highlight video of each interview today. So that's written down. Um, 2014. That was for me the year when I wrote a letter to my bank saying that I feel terrible using their fiat money and that I found out about Bitcoin and that I would really love to deposit my Bitcoins on my bank account so I could basically pay in every shop with my bank account while using Bitcoin. And my bank then sent me a letter back stating that they couldn't help me with depositing Bitcoins, but they could help me with my bad feeling about the euro, and they were closing all my bank accounts. So that completely radicalized me. I was fully determined in proving to them that their old-fashioned fiat system was inferior to this new modern hype of Bitcoin. I
That's
started,
how I felt with PayPal.
yeah,
They
yeah, yeah.
they were able to turn me off financially like I was a like my life was a light switch.
You didn't want to use that
You know,
service
boom.
anymore.
Yeah, boom, done. And you know, if it had been anybody, I've heard stories about this. If it had been, I think anyone else that wasn't like, you know, my father taught me a lot, so I prepare for anything I can think of. Right? If it was anybody else who wasn't as prepared, it would have killed their business. I would have had no money to rebuy and bring in new product to fix,
Yeah.
which subsequently I would sell. You know, it's a cycle.
Yeah.
And PayPal stuck their foot into my life and basically said no. Well, that's when I took all my money and I put it towards things because by then I already had inkling of Bitcoin. I was like, yeah, Bitcoin's where it's at. This is going to be the future. This is an internet moment. It might not be as big. It might be bigger than the internet. We don't know. But if there's ever anything that was like an internet moment, like a redo, Bitcoin is it for the people who missed out on the original internet. So yeah, I get you when the bank says, yeah, okay, we can help you with that feeling, and then they do it with a smile, and it's like, boom, you're fucking out of here. I mean, I'm a person. Like, how are you gonna just shut me off like that?
There is even a
In
law
one
that
respect,
prevents them from doing such a thing. And let me tell you that life in the Netherlands, I'm born in the Netherlands, life in the Netherlands is completely impossible without a bank account. So, yeah, it's been it's been an exciting journey since then. Let's just say it like that. But I'm very glad
yeah,
that I held on to my feeling, right? And because I felt that I was doing the right thing, and I still feel that I'm doing the right thing. Some people might not agree with the decisions that I make sometimes, but I don't agree with their decisions, and this is always causing some friction, and I wish that it wouldn't exist and that we could all get along, but they make
yeah.
some decisions that I cannot support, and they probably feel the same about me with things that I do. And yeah, it's a shame that this divide and conquer is still so apparent in our life today, and that the people who run the show, let's call it like that, manage to get hold of our emotions in that way, because we should get over that.
Yeah.
We are not the problem, they are the problem, right? That's really how I feel today. We are, of course, in 2020, June of 2020, in the middle of the COVID 1984 hoax, if I'm allowed to say that in that way. But um, let's go back again, Soupernerd. You were not done talking. I almost took away your moment there. I want to
Oh
hear more.
no,
No, no,
no,
I
no,
want
I'm
to hear
fine.
more. I want to hear more about your crypto story, because it's
Well,
yeah.
there's three things that I'm. There's a lot of things I'm sure of. There's three things I would touch on that I'm pretty sure of financially. I don't want cash to go away. Not yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't want fiat to be the only option. And I don't want to get stuck into a state-sponsored crypto, because these three things allow nations to turn me off financially, to flip that switch and make me a non-viable human. Because you cannot conduct business these days if any of those go away or exist. So, excuse me. So, if any of those exist, my biggest fear is that this cryptocurrency movement is going to push us into state-sponsored cryptos, and those will be the only viable options. And if we ever end up there, we're doomed, because now we're in a digital nation, and it's going to be very easy to hurt people financially.
I think that it's inevitable that it's gonna happen. Those central bank digital currencies are gonna be created. It's written all over the place. Oh, we have a new follower, BetKing16. Thank you for joining the stream. Welcome. I think it's inevitable that there are going to be central bank digital currencies. They have been talking about that since 2 years now. What I personally believe is that that's too quick. I'm not going to share. But maybe I should tell it. I'm going to tell it. I think that they are going to hand out a lot of free money to everybody that wants it. If you take the money, you're going to be obligated to file tax forms to your government. But they're going to keep on sponsoring you, because as long as you take it, you're going to be locked into their system. And I really believe that the digital form is the most easy way. They don't even need to print it. It's more secure than printing. You cannot counterfeit crypto coins. So,
Well, it also introduces a problem for the community, and basically they don't have to buy machinery to print money. They don't have to. It doesn't cost anything to print. See, if the United States, for instance, creates a tether,
yeah,
we're fucked. If that becomes our national currency, right? Let's say hypothetically, the United States creates a tether of its own. It it becomes our only viable currency as citizens of the United States. They could just print to their heart's desire and ruin the entire country, ruin entire
but what's the
group of
difference?
people's lives.
What's the difference with the dollar today then? Because most of those dollars never get
Well,
printed.
so if it's all digital, there's actually multiple problems. And so if they were to push us to all digital, there would be changes in the way that they can turn us off. Right now, if I got cash in my pocket, I can go buy food without the government knowing.
Yeah.
If they create an all digital currency, I cannot transact without them knowing. They can flip me off financially. That's a problem. Number two is there is a cost function to printing money. There's some work involved also, work involved when it comes to printing money. You got to have the machinery, you got to have the expertise, you got to print it, you got to distribute it. If they streamline fiat into a cryptocurrency that we're forced to use, and money and dollar bills go away, we're any problems that we have with fiat is worse by like tenfold at that point, because it's all digital. It's so easy for them to shut us down and to look and appear into each of our transactions. I mean, that's a whole big idea that probably has no reality,
No,
no
no, no,
basis in
no.
reality
I will.
right now.
If I'm gonna react to that in a minute, because first we already spoke for 20 minutes again, so the next raffle is happening.
All right, go ahead. I'll be right back.
Test the tipbitcoin.cash.
Oh, we got another tip. We got a tip from Adolf Honkler. Are we gonna test the tipbot? We are here 24 hours live. I'm sorry, I'm breaking down right now. We are here 25 hours right now, and we get the question: are you gonna test the tipbot? I'm sorry for that one. Crypto Ninja Poker, you have won the next raffle. Congratulations, my friend. I'm gonna write it down, and we're gonna spin the raffle wheel for you. Crypto Ninja Poker. Oh, my pen is not working anymore. My pen is breaking down before me, guys. Crypto Ninja Poker. Here we go. It happened. I wrote it down. I'm gonna spin the wheel for Crypto Ninja Poker. Give him a warm heart because he is organizing so many of your poker tournaments on blockchain.poker. Oh no! What happened there? Did you see it? No, nobody saw it. Almost a Keith Patrick. It didn't happen. 2 times 600 renew cash makes 1200 renew cash for Crypto Ninja Poker. Congratulations. Let me start a raffle right now. New raffle, 20 minutes as always, counting down. Exclamation mark raffle to participate. Good luck, everybody. Alright, now I did forget what we were. Shit. Oh, then I have to grab that moment better. You were making a point at the end, and I was saying to you, I'm gonna get back to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot what I was gonna get back to. It had
I think
to
we're
do.
starting to get into maybe a larger idea that I'm mentally prepared to get into right now. Basically, it just comes down to a state-sponsored cryptocurrency, in which case they would most likely try to outlaw peer-to-peer caches, like peer-to-peer cryptos.
Yeah, but that wouldn't eliminate it. I mean, Bitcoin is not going away if they would say that it's gonna be illegal to transact your fiat or digital fiat to Bitcoin. I wrote a piece of text in that year of 2014 stating that the biggest risk of any cryptocurrency's success is going to be a government making it illegal to transact to their government fiat. So we will just get a little bit closer to the black markets that are all over the world, right? If I want to buy a magic mushroom in the United States, that is going to be the way how bitcoins are going to be traded then, right? And in the
There's an
meantime,
idea
welcome
that
Wolfie to the stream. Nice to have you around.
there's an idea that if governments do outlaw cryptocurrencies, first of all, they're probably not going to do that until they create their own. They will slowly introduce their own. They will slowly educate people on this. They will slowly transition people to that. Once that happens and people are accustomed to it, they will start attacking any non-regulated cryptocurrencies. And although it won't stop it, it will severely hinder the mass adoption of a cryptocurrency that's created amongst peers.
Yeah.
And to me, that's something to watch out for. And this is why we have to get adoption before they do this. We have to be a few steps ahead of them, and we have to spur some sort of mass adoption before they get the idea. They probably already have the idea. They probably have already been working on something. One of the things that helps them is the fact that if we do spur on mass adoption for a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency, we're doing some of their work for them because we're doing the educational layer. We're tackling the educational aspect of it for them, and we're making So we have to have something that spurs it on and spurs it on quickly so that it can't be stopped. Because, once you have 50 million people using Bitcoin Cash, for instance, simply saying that it's illegal, it may hinder, but it's less likely to even happen in the first place at that point.
Sorry again. One more tip.
So if nobody is there, you can join me till the bottle is
Awesome.
empty.
Keep the tips coming.
I have a great friend of Freedom Radio, but he is playing the drinking game. So every time that he tips, I have to drink, and then he also drinks, and he's my biggest tipper. So every time he wants to have a new glass, he's tipping me. The trick of me is that I take small sips. He is actually already finished the bottle, right? So, but okay. Thanks for the tip, Freedom Radio. Thank you for that.
Crypto Ninja Poker says my father was a banker all his life. 1 week after his death, the same bank took everything from us: business, and house property, and destroyed my family.
Yeah, terrible.
These are basically humans that are just like us as humans, telling one sector of humans what they can and cannot do. It's authority, and we have to be really careful about what we do. We can't give people too much power. We have to spur adoption of cryptocurrency, and we have to get people on it. I mean, enough people on it that it doesn't matter what any nation says, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, but shouldn't we have done it by now? I mean, isn't the fact that all these individual cryptocurrencies are fighting each other basically showing that we have lost? Because that's how I feel about it at the moment. I see.
What you're seeing, and this is, in just my opinion, is a breakdown in governance, because no one has figured out the governance aspect. So the peer-to-peer cryptocurrency aspect has been solved. It brought on a new problem. It brought on the next problem to be solved. That's governance. How do you take the human out of the equation as much as possible? Because we see what humans do. We don't want to go into a full AI either. There needs to be some balance between code and humans. But we've seen what humans can do. They destroyed Bitcoin, which, for what it was and for how old it was at the time that it got destroyed, it was 5 years old, and it had a huge market share. People were hot on it. People were hyped about it. We saw what humans can do, and they did that. Blockstream in this case, and this is just my opinion. Blockstream destroyed Bitcoin, along with the help of the localized discussion places, the meetup places that people go to. So people got used to going to bitcointalk.org for their places of discussion. People got used to going to our Bitcoin for places of discussion. People also got used to going to Cripsy for trading talk, Poloniex for trading talk before they got rid of their troll box the first time.
Yeah.
When the person that controls these centralized places of discussion has an epiphany or a change of heart, everyone who has worked to build that group up to that point is going to suffer.
Yeah.
Because everything they thought they were doing is going to turn to shit because one person decided they wanted to have a change of heart. In this case, it's Thamos. Thamos is the owner of our Bitcoin. He is the owner of our Bitcoin Talk. Once there was a co-opting of Bitcoin and deceit and lies and manufactured bullshit with the help of Thamos, you saw it destroy Bitcoin. So governance, what we're seeing is not a failure of cryptocurrency. That's solved. for the most part. We're experiencing a failure of being able to govern this without two human beings being able to fuck it up for everybody else.
I get it now, a little bit better at least. Yeah, well, it opened my eyes a little bit more by pointing it to governance. The thing is, of course, that the human emotion is easily manipulated, right? And if there is no governance, which is the case in crypto coins, basically the communities, you can be anonymous, right? I have a credible line of blocked accounts already, and every day are coming the same people with different names. And if you don't have any governance, then yes, you are subject to such manipulation of the atmosphere. Let's call it like that.
Yeah.
And in for example bitcointalk.org a little bit more than that, the future of the greatest invention of mankind in the 21st century, let's call it like that. Yeah, I'm a little bit confused now with your answer about governance, because it's so touching about. I'm now connecting it to Liberland, and of course I'm live 24 hours, and I have an entire crate of empty Corona bottles around me. But
one of the things that's important is a constitution, a human humans have a there's all sorts of things, in my opinion, at play here. Number one, humans, like I've said before in other streams, are incentive based. When you brought up that they're emotional, yeah, they're incentive based. And I've said this before. From the time that I decide to go to bed as a person, I'm doing calculations in my head of incentive. What incentive do I have to stay up? What incentive do I have to go to bed early? Maybe I want to get up early the next day, or maybe I don't have anything to do, but I got a lot of work tonight. What friends do I network with? It's incentive based. What do these friends offer me? So when knowing that humans are incentive based, every aspect of their lives are based on incentive, these incentive calculations that we're doing in the back of our head, you can see how humans can fuck something up when it comes to governance. And you see that with Deimos. His incentives changed. Big change. Blockstream's incentives, I don't know if they changed or they just came to fruition. Let's say they just came to fruition, Blockstream as a for-profit company. So Bitcoin changed.
Yeah.
Who did they pull in? They obviously did the smart move and went after the people that control the places of discussion, Deimos, and they did that, and they were successful. So this idea of governance is, it goes to this idea that, in my opinion, you have to have some sort of constitution, and I don't mean like the constitution like the United States has. I mean like self constitution. But I do kind of mean like in a set of rules that are down on paper. Right now, everyone's basing their opinion of Bitcoin off the white paper. What might have helped was a specific stated set of guidelines written for it at the same time to say, hey, we are this.
Ethical guidelines.
We are not this. And this is why I asked about Liberland. Do you guys have this written down as stating we are this, but we might not be this, or something very general, at least, that you can use to
yeah. The only unfortunate thing is that dictate. People don't live by it.
Well, you must. I mean, you have to. At those who do not,
I can show you. I can show you 2 passports today of Liberland, because my Liberland story is a little bit more interesting than 1 passport. And the guy that is calling himself president is saying that you cannot use the force of the state to steal from people, and yet here I'm sitting with a $50,000 plus theft from the guy that is calling me persona non grata. So you can put all these rules out there and all these guidelines, but then still some people work their way to a position where they can break the guidelines. And what happens then? What happens then? So I mean, this is a
See, this
developing
is
story.
Bitcoin came to fruition. This was the problem of why people couldn't create a peer-to-peer cash or peer-to-peer currency in the beginning, before Bitcoin was conceptualized, because it always hinged on a human being there and potentially being in a position of power that they could just change anything. And Bitcoin stopped that, and we still have some issues like, potential 51% attacks, and things like this. But at least we took humans out of the equation as much as we could. We took the idea of being able to just copy and paste, like we could any JPEG, being able to copy and paste currency.
Yeah.
You got to have some sort of constitution, some sort of set of rules or general guidelines which we abide by, that everyone must abide by. If you don't have that, you're going to get what we have when it comes to Bitcoin. I mean, we're already seeing it with Bitcoin Cash. I think Bitcoin Cash is going places, but I've already seen, some of the bigger names in Bitcoin Cash. They're starting to divert with this IFP situation. It's over now, but they were starting to dive into potentially changing the economics of mining to serve a purpose where they felt like the means justified the end, which it never would have worked. Anyways, yeah. So we just have to have some sort of guidelines which we must all abide by, whether we abide by them as humans or we build that governance in the code, and that code determines, based off those guidelines, what is right, what is wrong. I don't know, but governance is the next
Big step
topic
to take. Yeah.
to tackle.
So in my opinion, we are still in late 2014 now in this story.
Yeah, 2015, about 2015, 2016. Yeah, that's where we are.
Because I'm feeling
So
that slowly you started to feel that the way how this project Bitcoin Core went didn't follow your guidelines. Let's say it like that, and that you saw for example, the censorship on these platforms.
We have lies, deceit, censorship, a shift in focus, a shift in goals. When you double talk, you double speak. These are all signs that something nefarious is going on. For instance, when you call ASIC boost an obvious mining efficiency, some sort of hack on Bitcoin, it's obvious to anyone with a half a brain that they're trying to turn what should be a mining efficiency into something that's bad, because politically they want people to not like Jihan Wu. These are akin to state-sponsored smear campaigns.
Please tell the community Jihan Wu is.
He is. I don't know what he is now, but he was the CEO of Bitmain.
Yeah. So the biggest producer of Bitcoin mining hardware. Yes.
Yeah, the founder, all that. I mean, he's the man. You know what I mean? Like he's the guy everyone wants to be. One of the guys that everyone wants to be, at least. When his team finds a mining efficiency, and they called it ASIC boost, and because for political reasons, Blockstream didn't have access to it, or something to that effect, or they had a problem, or they wanted to shift the focus to something else, they ran a smear campaign saying that it was I'm sorry, but if someone tomorrow.
Sorry, I missed a second. They said it was a
exploit. It was an
exploit.
Mining efficiency known as. Yeah.
Soupernerd comes next.
So I'm sorry, but if you
wait
wake
a second,
up tomorrow,
donation happening. I'm also going to thank Wolfie HD, Oxy, Kane, and Partisano1 for following. Thanks all. We have so many things happening at the moment, Soupernerd. It's sometimes difficult to keep on following the conversation because of all the donations and people following. But we're keeping it
fine with that. I mean, I don't even need a format. I'll just talk about anything. If anyone wants to hear my story, I'll talk about it randomly and not even in order. I don't care. So,
let me just